Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to crumble!
I'm Joshua Kemble, and welcome to Joshua Kemble's Livestream. I've been a freelance illustrator and graphic designer for over 20 years. I was an art director for 9 years. And when I'm not art directing and working on illustrations and graphic designs, I'm working on comic books and graphic novels, and that's usually what I do during my streams. And while conversations can go all over the place on this stream, from spicy and entertaining to goofy and silly, one thing stays consistent throughout every stream. I'll always be working on art. So pull up a chair, get your art supplies out, and get ready for an entertaining show that'll keep you company while you work on your own personal art projects. This is Joshua Kemble's Art Stream. All right, guys, welcome to my live stream. I have the mic kind of set a little low because I'm going to play a little song to kind of introduce the stream, and then we're going to work on comics. But since I just got this pretty hummingbird, I thought I'd give a shot at a song. So this is, I believe, The Biggest Lie by Elliott Smith. So we're going to give it a shot. And then we're going to get into comics. So don't worry, this isn't a music stream, but I'm just going to do a real quick run through the song, and then we'll kind of work from there. But this is the best I could get it for the mic that I have. I don't have like professional music mics, so let's do it, and then we'll get into working on comics. So let's see here. I'm waiting for the train, the subway that only goes one way, the stupid thing that'll come to tear us apart and make everybody late. You spend everything you have, wanted everything to stop that bad. Now I'm a crushed credit card registered to Smith, not the name that you call me with. Turn white like a saint, I'm tired of dancing on a pot of gold flake paints. Oh, we're so very precious, you and I, and everything that you do makes me wanna die. I just told the biggest lie. I just told the biggest lie. Biggest lie. All right, so let's get things situated. So what I'm going to do right now, just to set up my mic and put away my guitar and stuff, is play a quick advertisement, and then we will be back making comics. So here is Frank Salazar's Adventures at the Library.
Our heroic adventurers fought orcs, monsters, sorcerers, necromancers. Now they find themselves in front of a mystical library. What shall they find? It's all in the roll of the dice. We've come this far. There's great power behind this door. I can feel it. We just have to get past it. This door is no match for my axe. I shall chop it down. You always want to use brute strength. Why don't you try knocking? We'll try it your way. You may enter. The library is open to all those who seek knowledge. Feel free to look through our tomes. Maybe you'll find the answers you seek. I sense great power here, and it's behind those shelves. Indeed, there are powerful items hidden behind these shelves, but you can only get there through the enchanted words. Do you have those words? I believe I do.
Tremble before the Cremble.
There is great power. Look at that glove. Must be so powerful. That is not where I sense this power. I must get closer. I found them. I found the sacred manuscripts written by Joshua Kemble. Behold, I now possess 2 stories and Jacob's apartment. Please tell us more about 2 stories and Jacob's apartment, and who is Joshua Kemble? Xeric Award-winning cartoonist Joshua Kemble is a freelance artist, graphic designer, and author. 2 Stories is a confessional graphic memoir that grapples with questions of faith, mental illness, depravity, and ultimately redemption in a fallen world. Jacob's Apartment is a coming-of-age graphic novel in the vein of Ghost Road and Fun Home. It weaves together the threads of spiritual faith, identity, purpose, love, and loss to create an engrossing world in which waking and sleeping dreams collide. You have made your choice. The passage is now closed. Wait, can I get that glove? No. Oh. All right, let's go.
All right, you guys have made your choice. The passage is now closed. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that little music interlude at the beginning. I ended up having to kind of set things up a little differently with the mic, and it might actually be a little too close now. But anyhow, just to like get the guitar set up and stuff. Not a really crazy hard song to play, but I thought it sounded nice on the Hummingbird. And now we're actually going to work on working on comics. So what I'm going to do right now is pull open page 95. Is it 95 that we're on? So we're going to work on 95 of Not Death But Love, The Strange Supernatural Story of Elizabeth Barrett Browning. This one is going to require a lot of different scenes in the Victorian era, and it's going to be kind of interesting to figure out. So it might be a lot of heavy research and kind of stuff like that. This is a historical fiction graphic novel that I've been working on. So like a lot of the time I just have to like pull what I can from the Victorian era and try to kind of make things work. But that's what we're going to be doing. So we're going to work on that and see how things go. So let's pull up our art stream. So here is the blank page that we're going to fill and finish tonight. If you guys are like me and have a bunch of stuff you have to do, this is a good time to like pull open whatever your comic project is. A lot of people who watch this channel are working on comics and stuff like that and work along with me or hang out with me while I work. Okay, so down below me is the section of script that we're working on, and I'm going to go ahead and read through that. And as usual, what we're aiming to do today is just this rough, at least during this stream. So we'll see how far we can get into it before we kind of run out of time or something. So anyhow, so panel 1 is Elizabeth and Sophie are strolling together through a sunny open air market. shading themselves with parasols. So now I think that the writer of this provided me with some references of like some of the outfits and stuff that she's thinking of. They chat while keeping a polite distance from each other. Elizabeth clutches Penn's hand, and Doaddy walks beside him. So we're going to have to pull open references. I believe I've drawn Doaddy a while ago, and I can't remember where in the 86 pages or whatever that we've done so far that happens. So we might have to dig back. But before we do that, what we're going to do right now is just make notes of what we need to draw. So I always start with that so I'm not wasting time. So this is going to be one. It's going to be Elizabeth and Sophie strolling together in open air market. And it's going to have Penn and Doaddy. Penn and Doaddy. Actually, hold on. Penn holding Elizabeth's hand. Doaddy next to them. So we're going to have to pull open references from quite a few pages ago. If you guys remember the first time we kind of introduced people to Casa Guidi in this story, which is their villa, the Brownings villa in Italy. We had a scene in an Italian open air market where their maid was shopping with Elizabeth when we found out that Elizabeth was pregnant. So now this will be probably the same open air market. But now it's going to be Penn and Doaddy and Elizabeth and Sophie strolling through it. So again, we're going to have to pull open some previous pages and previous references as well for that. So so that'll be interesting. So number 2 is going to be Sophie, same shot. Sophie leans to whisper to EBB, surprised by a gesture. 3 is going to be okay, and then 3 is going to be see, this is the problem where it's like, I don't understand how this would be in one panel. It says Sophie whispers in Elizabeth's ear whatever she's saying amuses Elizabeth, who smiles broadly and leans closer to Sophie. So I think this will have to be it's just going to be Sophie whispering, and then it's going to be EBB, and we'll just do same shot again. Smiles, leaning closer. Okay. So that's all in that one open air market. Okay. For panel 4, it's going to be Sophie and Elizabeth sit together on a sofa in the Casa Guidi salon. Faces hidden behind a newsprint periodical titled The British Spiritual Telegraph being a weekly record of spiritual phenomenon. So that'll be 4. It's S and EBB. No kids this time. Sitting on sofa at Casa Guidi. Faces behind, we'll just say, periodical. And obviously we'll have to, so now we have to also pull up reference of Casa Guidi, which we've drawn a million times, the interior, as well as like probably, well, I mean, this sofa we've drawn a bunch, so we know which sofa they're probably sitting on. But the British Spiritual Telegraph, which I believe the author provided, so we'll have that. So that's exciting. Again, this is going to be a lot of research on this one, so this might be a long time working on this rough, just to kind of get everything pulled together. Okay, last one. Sophie and Elizabeth are at a tea party. And in the email, the writer actually said that she wanted it to be not in a private parlor. She'd prefer it to be on a like a, what was the word? Basically out on a patio. So I'm going to say patio. And they are talking. And at a distance, ladies watch, gossiping and with suspicion. So a lot of information packed into one page. It's like a an 80s montage. If this were an 80s movie, it would be playing like, I don't know, a friend's a friend forever. And it's like got the this montage going on. Gary said, good evening, Gary. And he said, popping in for a sec before heading into the gym. Nice. I hope you enjoyed my little acoustic cover song that I started this stream with. And I hope you enjoy the gym, sir. And good on you doing the gym. You know what? I was talking about this yesterday with somebody at work, and Gary, you might be the person who pushes me over the hurdle, because I was talking about getting out of my flow of doing comics, but I also, like, hand in hand, have gotten out of my workout flow. And I used to be pretty good about that. Like, I was doing that pretty consistently for about 3 years, every other day. And I have not worked out in a good, like, 3 months, and my stomach is showing it. So I need to get back to working out. And Gary, you might have given me the impetus to do that after the stream. So I think tonight I will do my first workout in like 3 months and get back on the horse there. Thanks, Gary. And then the part of me that actually has to do the workout is not thankful to you, Gary. But good on you. Good on you for going to the gym. It's so important. Nice. Gary said, yes, hopefully I won't jinx it, but I've got a pretty good habit going 3 times a week for a few months now. Nice. Yeah. And if you keep on it, that can last for 3 years. And I was really proud of that, because I'd go to the doctor and they'd be like, you must work out. Your heart rate's great and stuff like that. And which is a weird thing for me to say, hear or have said, because I don't look like somebody who works out. but I guess that, like, it was helping medically, which is good. So yeah, I need to get back on that because it's nice to not die. I like not dying, at least for a little bit. I'd like to stave off the horses of death for a while. Speaking of death, welcome to this live stream where everything's positive and optimistic. Okay, let's do this. So we're gonna get into the roughs, but we have to get a bunch of references gathered. So this is the boring part where we have to get all our references in a row. So I'm going to call this list, and then we're going to have our borders, which will be crucial later on. And then we're going to kind of work our way through these different things and kind of work out what we got. So, okay, borders will stay. We don't need reference of a page a long time ago. What we do need reference for, actually, we don't even need reference from the previous page because this is completely new scenarios. However, we're going to need references from way previous pages, but let's just go through all of the layers of this file and see if anything's keepable. So this thumbnail is not going to be useful to us, nor is this. This previous list can go. What do we got here? We got more roughs. That's all junk. And again, like, if you're wondering what I'm looking at, it's what I do is I save generic rough files that are PSD files that are odds and evens, right? So each one's set up to have bleed on one side or the other, and then I go, like, on said files, I keep a ton of references. But it's not bad, especially when I change scenes, to go through and find references that I no longer need or references I'm not going to need. Like apparently the template that I pulled this from was from the Bosco sequence. So I don't think we're going to need any of this Bosco stuff because Bosco will not be appearing in this scene. He won't be appearing for a while in the comic. So Bosco's day is done, at least for now. We don't need a ball and cups diagram because that was from that magic sequence. And if you guys are watching, I'd love to hear what you guys are working on. So this is that previous setting of the crazy theater we had to draw, which none of this is going to be useful to us now. So all of this can go. This was Elizabeth's kind of nice dress. I don't know if we're going to keep that or not. I do know we need Elizabeth. We don't necessarily need Robert, but it might not be bad to have that there. I don't think there's going to be any men, just boys in this. So I don't know if we're going to actually need these costumes. And again, the Bosco references, as nice as they are, I don't think we need those. So we're just kind of weeding out all the stuff we don't need. And then we're going to have to go back and find the pages where they have references that we're going to need for this current one. So as weird as it is, I feel like with illustration and comics, like a lot of the trick is prep. Like a lot of artists don't take the time. And I don't mean this in a negative. I think a lot of us think that these things just kind of flow out of the imagination entirely, especially younger artists. And it's like, no, especially a historical fiction book. Like there's a lot of research and references, and some of it you may never use, but it just gives you the vibe and the feel so that when you're roughing or drawing or whatever, you're kind of in the flow of that era and that time and that look and that feel that you're going for. And that's a huge amount of what, separates, I think, a lot of professional illustrators from amateurs. And it's not like it's a special thing. It's just like you do it long enough and you realize how much work it saves you. So I know that we have Sophie on the previous page. So we're going to pull open the previous page rough, and we're just gathering all this stuff together. Gary's a really good example of actually like a lot of research and stuff like that. Like he'll go to the extent of like buying props from like the era, which is really cool for his DVSM series. Like he'll buy like props, sometimes even make like, accurate little like cutout things of guns like out of cardboard and stuff that are like to the scale that the guns he wants to draw are, like all sorts of stuff. And again, you can look at that and be like, why would anyone do that? And then you see the results and it's like, oh, okay, that's why somebody would do it, because you have really good results. So here's Sophie. This is an actual character from history, from the letters of Elizabeth Barrett Browning. So we're going to need to be accurate with that. So we have Sophie. And then is there anything else from the previous page that's going to be useful here? I don't think so, actually. I don't think so. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this nice reference of Elizabeth and Sophie are going to be really key. I'm going to name this Elizabeth because sometimes that EB2 thing throws me off. Now, I don't think we need Robert, but I'm going to keep him here just in case. And then Elizabeth's dress, I don't think we're going to need, but I'll keep it there. So now we're getting a little closer with our references. So we have Elizabeth and Sophie stroll together through a sunny open air market, shading themselves with parasols. So I think the writer provided me with that. So let's find out. I put them all in a references folder, and we're going to kind of peruse through them. Now, I think this would be... Maybe we didn't get women in parasols. So we might have to actually look that up. I might look up... There's a lot of Impressionist paintings at the time. But they're in the open air market. So let's start there. Let's start with the sunny open air market. Let's just go in order of the script. So the market we drew a while ago, and now I have to find how far back. So that's where my lovely JPEGs, or I could pull out my physical printouts. You're going to see a little blip in the feed, and that's just me scrolling through JPEGs and my computer's memory not liking that. Are you guys seeing that blip? I wonder. Okay, so it was all the way back on page 27. So now I'm going to look and see if I have a thing in my folder for page 27, like of the open air market. And if I don't, I know that for page 27 roughs, if I still have them, we're definitely going to be seeing that. So hopefully I saved them. Page 27. Hopefully we didn't do anything weird and save over them. So I'm going to open that up and we'll see what we got. I hope everybody's having a good Saturday. I hope everybody got Veterans Day off. Okay, so there was a lot of interesting stuff here, but this was the open air market page, the roughs. So now we want to see if we have an open air market here. And I feel like we did have like really good references of an open air market. Was there better references? That was like some of these were earlier. Ah, here's some open air market stuff. Okay, let's see what we got here. We had a lot of open air market references. That was the maid's costume. Was this more open air market kind of costumes? So I kind of like the idea of, for this one, they're going to be strolling through with parasols and the kids are going to be there. So I kind of want to just peruse through the research we had already done of the open air markets. That's a pretty good one. That's a pretty nice one too. That's actually a really nice one. Maybe if we had it somewhere, I'm trying to see like what would be the best. And I actually kind of think a casual open air market might be even better. So we might want to go with like a smaller scene. If they're there, but it being kind of packed, I think we're going to go with the middle. Like a mixture of this. So this will be, we'll call this market 1. I want to do like a mixture of like that kind of angle and street with some of the references that I had of people at the time. And that might be something like this first black and white one, if I can find where it is. There it is. So this first black and white one, we might kind of pop in there. Okay, there's our open air market references. So we'll not save. I'll call this market 2. Okay, so that's going to help for that. And then it's shading themselves with parasols. So now we might do, let's see if we can find like some reference online. I love the idea of possibly doing a little bit of a shout out to some previous stuff. So there's a very famous set of Victorian era paintings. So we might throw some of those in just for some inspiration. Just to kind of get the vibe of like, so I'm going to call this like Parasol 1. And I love the idea of, oh, that's pretty cool. Actually, I kind of think this might be more correct, is something like this. So I'll call this Parasol 2. And then maybe we'll do this as Parasol 3. And I think that'll do it for Parasol references. That might be helpful enough. So again, just getting all the visual references so we kind of get the right ideas. Parasol 3. Because I'm not sure about the fully white dress, but it might be fun to kind of honor that by having a little bit of a reference to it. Let's see here. Or like a shout out to it in a slight way. Let's see if we can do... Maybe we can do a couple other things just to like see. Let's see if we can find like Monet. Parasol. So I like the idea of I actually like the idea of kind of a shout out or something of that. So we'll do like a Parasol 4. At least maybe with the color, you know. Let's try Parasol 5. Just to get that like light kind of feeling. So, okay. We've overdone it a little bit with the parasols, but I think that'll give us a vibe for when we get to that part. So now we need they chat while keeping a polite distance from each other. Elizabeth clutches Pen's hand and Doaddy walks beside him. So we've drawn Doaddy before and Pen, and so now I think I need to actually reference my own pages, but we have to like kind of scroll through those and find them. I know this is thrilling, but this is part of the process. So let's go through it. Let's see. Start with 86 and just kind of work my way back. I know it's not going to be in the 80s because I think once we're in the 80s, that's the end of their conversation with Bosco. This must have been before Bosco. So we're just going to kind of scroll through and see if I can find Pen and Doaddy. It's way before the 70s, too, because the 70s are when we have that whole sequence where they're visited by Home. They have Home and Miss Reimer over for tea. And there's that exploding thing. The 60s, the late 60s are like the Mr. Bones dance, where Robert is dancing with a skeleton. However, so is Sophie... Maybe Sophie isn't introduced. Maybe we haven't drawn Doaddy. I thought we did. But am I crazy? Maybe we haven't drawn Doaddy because Sophie's only introduced in like page 60-ish. Page 50 something. But I thought we had drawn Doaddy. That's crazy. I really did think we had drawn them. Maybe it's when they walk into the building they have Doaddy? Just kind of browsing around, getting the stuff we need. That'll be my wife and kid and stuff coming back from Little Tokyo, where they were perusing with the children. Took my niece and my son to go hang out and get a bunch of toys and stuff. It was pretty cool. Okay. I don't think it happens before 50 because we just introduced these characters. So Doaddy has to be after. Did we have Doaddy? I thought we had them playing on the floor. I thought there was a scene where we had Penn and Doaddy. Maybe it was the scene where they came over. I gotta check again. It's like page 70. Maybe page 70? No. I thought they were like playing on the floor and they made a comment on how the kids, how well they got along together. Maybe that hasn't happened yet. Maybe that's later. Yeah, so page 70 doesn't have that. They go to the theater. We got all that. Maybe it's in the roughs. Maybe we roughed it out. Okay, so it's definitely more recent if we did rough it out. So that's going to be in. It was 87. That was it. It was page 87. We found it. Okay. So page 87 rough is what I need to find real quick. But not the web one. So 87. So we found it. I knew I had drawn them before, but we haven't finalized a drawing of them yet. So it's page 87 rough. And I'm going to pull that open. 87. And we'll see what we got. So page 87. So we have pen, our pen reference. Yes. There's our pen reference. We know that Penn at the time, she used to dress in girls' clothing, which was really irregular at the time. Did I have a reference for Doaddy? I did. That's what we were going to base Doaddy as. So I'm going to call this Doaddy. So we got Penn and Doaddy. Yay. Okay. Luckily, we're not having to reinvent the wheel because the research does kind of stack up to where there's less as you go. Okay. We have all the research for panel 1 done. So I'm going to play a trailer real quick. I'm going to get a little bit more water, and then we're going to find all the research for panel 2 and so on, panel 3, panel 4, and panel 5, and then we'll finally get to drawing. So it's all this boring prep work stuff first. I hope you guys are doing well. If you're watching this, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed if you haven't yet. And I'm going to go ahead and put on Kids Say Kemble. Oh, before I play this, I should mention, I am going to be doing a voice for Jim Luhan's The Full Fungus cartoon. And my character is going to be me in the 1970s. And Jim has told me this. So it's basically, it's going to look exactly like me, but with like way longer hair. and all 70s out. I think I might be wearing a Stooges t-shirt. We'll see. But I'm pretty excited about that, and I think it'll be really fun. Which means all of the Artcasters, all three of us, are going to be doing voices for Jim Luhan's The Full Fungus, which should be really exciting. Okay, speaking of Jim Luhan, here is Kids Say Kemble, and I'll be back.
We know that Georgia kids say the craziest thing.
So, little Susie, do you have any brothers or sisters? I understand you're in 3rd grade. How do you like that? Do you like your teacher? You like to do a lot of fun things at school? You got any hobbies, Susie? Any things you like to do when you're not in school? I hear you like to read.
Well, right now I'm reading 2 stories written and illustrated by Joshua Kemble. It grapples with faith and mental illness. It's ultimately a story about redemption. It's a savage piece of writing. Also, I just finished up Jacob's Apartment, another one by Kemble. Jacob's Apartment weaves together elements of spiritualism and relationship dynamics, as well as atheism, and all the while it deals with abandonment and loyalty. It's a fierce, fierce read.
Do you like ponies?
That. So, luckily, panel 3 is just the same shot. Probably a little tighter on Elizabeth and Sophie, so we should be good on that. Panel 4 is going to be Sophie and Elizabeth sit close together on a sofa in Casa Gaidi. So now I have to dig back to the last time we drew Casa Gaidi, which might actually be here. Weirdly enough. I feel like this took place in Casa Gaidi, but maybe we didn't pull reference. Yes, we have the Casa Gaidi reference. So that's all we need. They're going to be sitting in Casa Gaidi on the sofa. So we've got Casa Gaidi. That's our location for panel 2. Boom. All these wild references. Okay. They're looking at a newsprint periodical titled The British Spiritual Telegraph, being a weekly record of spiritual phenomenon. And the author provided me with a reference for that, which is really exciting. So I don't have to go and look it up. That is going to look something like this. The British Spiritual Telegraph. And we're just going to go ahead and make this telegraph. Cool. So we have that as a reference. It's really ugly typeface. That I, like, were they not paying attention to the I in spiritual, the first I is so out of sync in thickness. Oh, that annoys the type nerd in me. Okay, so we got that. So we are set for panel 4. Now panel 5, the tea party in a private parlor. And this one, there was a specific reference that was like outdoors. And I think it would work pretty well for positioning. So I feel like the ladies gossiping are going to be kind of sitting back in the back like that, like those ladies somewhat. And then we're going to have Elizabeth and Sophie kind of in the foreground. So this will be what I call patio. Okay, we have gathered all the references. Oh boy. Now it's time to do some thumbnails. So, for the first, we're gonna do Elizabeth and Sophie stroll together through a sunny open air market. So we're gonna do that. Since this is a 5-panel page, I'm thinking it'll be 4 stacked and then a wide 5th That's already what I think would work best for this. But we'll find out. So we want Sophie Elizabeth for this. I want the market. And then I want the parasols. I might have overdone it on the parasols here. And I want Penn and Doaddy. And I'm going to move Penn and Doaddy real quick. So that I have a little space to like do my thumb. Okay. So Elizabeth and her are going to be strolling together. Penn's holding Elizabeth's hand. So we're going to have something like them strolling together. Is Penn going to be beneath? Let's see. So we'll do like Elizabeth's going to be strolling. She's going to be wearing like one of these wild outfits. She's going to have Penn holding her hand. But see, I need space for Sophie to kind of turn. So Penn is going to be a little bit tall-ish. Penn will be here. He's holding his mom's hand. And maybe he'll be looking to Doaddy, who's here. Doaddy's a little younger. And Doaddy can be holding hands with Penn, maybe. I don't know. Kids holding hands. Maybe not. Maybe he's just got his hand like this. And he's going to be somewhat behind. But that will allow for parasols now. So parasols. Have her kind of holding one out. And that can be somewhere around here. But I like this almost being like, maybe she's holding it kind of more like the lady in the Monet, so that it's kind of out behind. And then we'll have Sophie, who's going to be here. Sophie will be here, kind of walking. She's going to have a rose thing. And maybe I feel like Elizabeth would have the more kind of restrained outfit. And I think Sophie tends to show her shoulders more often, or like more of her shoulders. It just kind of fits her character more. So we'll probably pick like a more kind of outfit like this for Sophie. It's a little more ostentatious, even though it's not really. It's Victorian times, so nothing's really ostentatious. But so then her hand is going to be out a little bit more, and we'll have her kind of strolling the open air market with Elizabeth. And her parasol, maybe it'll be like one of those smaller ones, you know. So Elizabeth will have the big old parasol, maybe one of the smaller ones for. And weirdly enough, like, this is just a thumbnail, so actually it's not a bad idea for me to keep it loose like this and not get like super crazy detailed. But I want this to be like kind of wide. I sort of like the idea, if they're doing an open air market, then maybe we have this kind of sequence of kind of like stalls with foodstuffs in them and stuff. And maybe we have like a vendor who's kind of here. Maybe he's like holding a fish. That seems like something from a neat open air market kind of thing. And then maybe we have some people back here just kind of perusing the open air market. And maybe we'll have one of these bigger parasol type thing. A parasol over the parasol may not be great. But maybe we'll have like an apple barrel or something here. And then a little bit more of like the open air market type stuff. Maybe another person standing here. And a lot of this background is going to stay the same almost. So, and then we'll have like our overhangs kind of chilling. And I think that'll do it for like panel 1. Okay. Panel 2 is going to be the same shot, but it's going to be basically Sophie is going to be leaning in to talk to Elizabeth. I like the idea of her parasol kind of staying the same. So like her parasol stays out, but she's like whispering something. And maybe the parasol's out a little more. And I want Sophie now is going to be like leaning back a little bit. So, or not Sophie, Elizabeth's going to be like leaning back like, They're a little shocked. And maybe her parasol will be up a little more. So again, this is a thumbnail, and then we'll use this as like kind of a base to like build our roughs off of. So we have her kind of whispering, and then the next one will be so she's smiling broadly and leaning closer to Sophie. So now it's going to be her kind of now she's really interested and kind of leaning more towards Sophie. With her parasol, maybe it's like here now. And maybe we have them kind of doing arm in arm kind of thing. So now they're like, we're showing that they're like friends kind of. So that's that sequence. It's the first 4 panels. Panel 5 will be totally new for our thumbnail. Why will this not let me? Okay, cool. Yeah. So panel 5, I like the idea of actually stretching this a little bit too. So it fits a little better. So panel 4 will be in the, now we don't need our parasols. We we don't need pen and duality. We don't need our markets. We need Casa Guide. So let's pull Casa Guide up. And this is going to be them reading the telegraph, which we're going to pull up as well. So, okay. Let's actually have this here. Okay, so, and then Casa Guide can go over here. They're going to be on that couch, buried behind the spiritual telegraph. Where is my rough? Oh, okay, here it is. I'm going to go ahead and call this thumb so I don't lose it. Okay. So now this one's going to be, they're sitting, faces buried, sitting close together, faces buried in a thing. So I think we need this to be them kind of holding the telegraph. And they're both going to be sitting relatively close together. And this is going to be on the couch in Casa Guide. It's going to be on that couch. And I like the idea of this being, you know, just showing a little bit more of the Casa Guide stuff. So we'll see a little bit of that, you know, scenario and setting. But this time there's no duality. But just familiar surroundings, you know. And we're going to have that kind of that familiar background. With a door. And the trim that we've become so accustomed to here, because I've had to draw this like a million times. So okay, we'll call that this one. Okay, so now we have 4 of these sketched out, and now we need that final one for the thumbnail, and that will be needing the patio, and I believe that's all we really need is the patio. And then they're going to be doing tea. So let's see here. I like the idea of this one being, they stand in the middle of the room, arms linked, engrossed in conversation as if no one exists. So this could be, I almost feel like here we should have them talking with their arms linked. And since they're doing tea, maybe they should have tea. I think one of them will have a fan and one of them will have tea. So they did have like fans or whatever. I kind of like that. So maybe they're here and then their arms are linked. So this hand will be here. They're going to be like whispering to each other or whatever. And this can be, the ladies here can be like sitting here having their, you know, fans and chilling on their, you know, outdoor porch patio thing. And let's see here. And then we can have the proper tea here. But I do like the idea of this. Some of this posing I think we'll save, but I don't think, maybe some of these hats might get a little less ridiculous. But I do like the posing of the tea kettle. You know, that is pretty good. And then maybe this person's doing their pour. But I like the idea that this is like, maybe their heads are turned a little bit and they're kind of looking disapprovingly. And then this could be like, this is a secret patio kind of area that's more shaded with like some branches or whatever. And then it can kind of open up to kind of more of a patio space where we'll have like our awning or whatever. And then we can have like similar thing with some trees going. And that's that for that page. So I kind of like it. I think it should be tighter here. I think it should be wider here, so we actually see kind of the end of it. And then I think I'll move that over here, and we have like a nice little baseline for our page that's a thumbnail. So we have effectively thumbnailed page 95, and now we need to rough it out so it's a little more clear what's going on. And then once we've roughed that out, we'll be done for the stream, which is really exciting. Hope you guys are doing well. So I'm going to play a trailer, and then we'll get back and we'll actually do some roughs and stuff. So, I should have, this was on its own layer. Let's merge that down. Okay, so I can turn off the patio layer, and I'll move my thumb and I'll save it, lock it so that we can make it cyan and draw over that. And here is Christopher Runciman reviewing Jacob's Apartment.
Hi, my name's Chris and I like comics. I want to talk about this comic for a second here. I just got this in. I ordered it direct from my local comic shop through Diamond Distributing. It's Joshua Kemble's Jacob's Apartment. I really enjoyed this book. There's all kinds of comics out there, let's be honest. There's fun comics, there's superhero comics, there's young adult comics, there's adventure comics for kids. There's so many different things under the planet. But there's also an entire subgenre of alternative books. Real life, real world depictions in comic book form. Situations that happen to each and every one of us. And this is a fine example of that. If you get a chance, order this book from your local comic shop. You won't be disappointed. I can't sing its praises high enough. Okay? Check it out. Jacob's Apartment by Joshua Kemble.
All right,
Hi,
here we
my
are.
name's Chris, and I like comics. I want to talk about this comic for a second here.
I accidentally turned on the ad again. So I'm going to rock and roll, and now we're going to take this scratchy little thumbnail, and we're going to do roughs. We'll start with the panel borders. So the first thing I'm going to do is turn on my panel borders from the previous thing. I'm going to go ahead and do view extras so I can see it. Wait, I should have view extras. View guides. Show guides. There we go. Okay. So we're showing our guides, and now we're going to basically increase the size of our thumbnail to match the guides. And this will be a nice baseline, like blue line, basically, to work the page over. I'm going to go ahead and increase that. And now what we're going to do is we're going to kind of work out the panel borders from this. So we're going to go ahead and turn this cyan. That's my little trick that I like to do if I remember to. And then I'm going to turn off my list for now because we don't need to see that. And now what I'm going to do is adjust my panel borders to match. So that's pretty easy peasy, or should be. So there's kind of a rough layout. And then what we'll do is go ahead and delete this middle part because I don't need it. And again, this is just for thumbnails, you know. So we're going to go ahead and get our little rough area going for our borders. So now I can actually turn off the view extras. And then we'll go ahead and make this happen. I don't like the distance that I had on this rough. That's insane. So I'm going to go ahead and just correct that real quick. Because, you know, it doesn't need to be perfect as a rough, but it could still be a little more accurate. So I'm just doing little panel borders to indicate the much more refined kind of Victorian style panels that I'll be doing for the final. And then this is actually going to go straight here. So we'll start with that panel border first. And just allot the space for the, you know, look that we want. And just continue to build out those borders. So here, I think we'll do like that. And then here, we're just going to carry these all the way down, and then we'll erase and clean up, and we'll have somewhat like visible, viable panel borders to work with, or to work our roughs around. And again, these don't need to be perfect. They just need to indicate to my publisher what the final page is going to look like, so they can get like a rough idea of what the thing we're trying to accomplish is, what the shading's going to be like, costumes, etc. Which, by the way, saves a lot of time. Like the last set of roughs I did on stream, actually, I ended up spending Artcasters fixing up so that a few little things that they didn't think made sense made more sense. There were a couple things, like it was like a carriage sequence, and they wanted the carriage door closed and the character of Sophie out for the dialogue between her and home, which was a switch from the script. But again, like if I had done finals, that would have been a nightmare to fix. Whereas, like, having done roughs, it was pretty quick to adjust and make work. So there we go. We've got our roughs, our thumbnail under. I'm gonna go ahead and make a copy of it, just in case I ever need to go back to it. And now I'm just gonna clean it up a little bit so there's less confusion going outside of the border lines. And kind of adjust so that it fits better. Like, for instance, I like this here more, so it kind of matches a little better. And I'm going to get rid of some of the excess that's coming out of these edges. So we just have like a nice little blue line to work over for our final. And maybe we do this over a little bit too. So we're kind of correcting some of the thumbnail at this point. And then from there, we'll go ahead and, finalize it and get it done. Get her done. The nice thing about this one is there's no real extreme dialogue, so it's all silent. This is a montage page, so it's basically just images, which saves me a little bit of work on the rough end. However, they're all scenes that have, a lot of background going on. So now what I'm going to do is we're going to work on our rough. I'll do that on another panel. And then I want Sophie and Elizabeth here. So first, let's start with Elizabeth. Let's start with Elizabeth here, and then we'll kind of work our way further. So for Elizabeth, she is walking. She is slightly interested in what Sophie's saying. Let's get her face a little closer, and we'll just kind of get that roughed in. Elizabeth roughed in a little bit. I like the less. Yeah, she doesn't have as much of a. So she's going to be smiling, but not as much as later. And she's walking with Sophie, but she's Elizabeth, so she's going to have her wild hair. It's been a while since I've drawn Elizabeth, it feels like. Because I think the last few pages have had mostly just Sophie and home. And then there was some Elizabeth a couple pages back, but it's just I'm less comfortable with Elizabeth because I haven't drawn her in a while. Okay, so this is going to be Elizabeth's head. That's all I needed for her head, so we don't need to see her reference anymore. And then we need Sophie's head. So I'm going to go ahead and move Sophie over, and we'll get Sophie's head worked in there, and then we'll kind of build from there. So this is Sophie who's talking to Elizabeth. She has pretty wide eyes the way we're kind of drawing her in this. And a much more kind of dainty nose. And I think I'll have her like talking, but she's not talking fully yet. Because she's going to get into some juicy gossip in a second. So, but right now we're just kind of filling it in with her. And again, her like thing here. And then she's going to have her rose that she always has on her head. And this will be Sophie. And I made her chin way too big, but we'll adjust that. And I made Elizabeth's chin kind of weird too. So having chin problems today, guys. And this will be a better Sophie. So now we're going to have that. And then now we need our parasol references. I can't remember which one we were pulling from the most. I know this was one of them. And then the other was here. So these are our two parasols that we kind of ended up going with. And outfits. So I'm going to go ahead and move this one here, and then we'll sort of look at Elizabeth and build it out. So Elizabeth's going to be wearing this, which is kind of a little more of an outfit here. Her hand, maybe she's wearing gloves. And she has her parasol going behind her. She has this sort of outfit that kind of comes here. And then puffy at the sleeves. Kind of gets thinner to here. Here it again puffs out. And I think we'll have like a kind of thing here. And she was going to be holding her hand down to hold her kid's hand. So we'll sort of sketch that in. And then she's got this almost like tiered, kind of like it. So it kind of tears down. And then goes here. And they're walking through the thing. Okay. And then she had her parasol kind of going here. And it's going to be wide, sort of gapped parasol kind of thing going on. Let's try doing the center points first. Okay. So it's her Spider-Man parasol. Okay. So that's her. Now we're going to do our Sophie outfit. And again, this is a rough, so it's just getting those details in there, you know. So this will be Sophie's going to be having her outfit. Hers goes kind of like so. There's definitely like a thing going on there. She's going to have her hands bare. She is definitely holding her thing, but it's going to kind of have like a thing there, and then we're going to have our kind of chunkier parasol. It's a little fluffier with some stuff here. And I like the idea that her outfit is going to have like these real puffy sleeves. That then kind of tear into this thing. And I was going to have her hand sort of here holding her dress, which is going to be a little more ornate and ridiculous. So and this is puffier sleeves, and then it's like this tiered sort of thing. So much wider in the back, and we'll kind of work that out in a second. Is she going to be next to Sophie? Or not next to Sophie. She'll be slightly behind Elizabeth. And this is going to be that rough. So then we're going to have Penn and Duati. Whew, fun times, guys. Fun times. Okay, so Penn is here. Where's Penn? And Penn's holding her hand. Oh. And again, we don't need it to look exactly like Penn, but it doesn't hurt if it looks a bit like it for the rough. So this will be Penn. He's going to be kind of looking over here at, and he has like these long locks just like his mom. And kind of like this sailory thing, so maybe we'll do that. It's like a really weird outfit. I feel like in the Victorian era, it's funny if you look at old Little Nemo and Slumberlands too, you'll see these like wild outfits they used to have kids wear. It's like, man, it would have been a drag to be a kid back then, just wearing these outfits. So then he's going to be maybe his hands open. And I like the idea that this might drag down a little bit. And be even more. And then he had these like really wild things with, there we go. So that'll be Penn, and then we'll have Doaddy kind of next to him. Doaddy's a little bit older than this. This was just a reference to kind of give us some context. Let's see here. Okay. Reference to give it some context. This will be Doaddy, who's going to be a little bit more and he will have like this little thing too, I think. And maybe his hand will be out. And I like the idea of him almost like his arms back behind him, like this. And he'll have his kind of thing going on too. Oh, did we draw that on the wrong layer? I did. Gotta cut that. And we'll move this to here. And he's going to have like boots. Okay, cool. So that's kind of enough for them. And then I think what we'll do is we're going to build this just like we did with the rough. So a lot of the background and the kid and stuff like that are going to stay the same. We're just going to see movement of the two figures. So this shouldn't take an incredibly long amount of time. Okay. So we're working on roughs for panel 1. So now we need our market. And I think we were mostly looking at this mixed with, this mixed with, where were the other market things? I think it was mixed with this. So it's like these two things. So for the market, let's just kind of build it out. So the market's going to have our kind of stalls with stocks and food and stuff like that. So this can be like a food thing. And then this can be like a wood crate of some kind stacked on top of like another crate of wood. And I like that. And we'll do just another one. This one is more like kind of wood thing here. And we'll have it have maybe apples or something. Well, apples in there. And I like this being a little taller so that we can kind of see a little bit of the legs of it or whatever. And then we'll have another thing that's like a crate. And this one will go back a little bit further. And this one can have all sorts of produce, maybe on a grid or something. So we can have like bananas, and then we'll have like melons and some sort of other things. And then this can be the fish guy. So I kind of like those weird hat things, and I think I'm going to have that incorporate that. So this will be a person with one of those kind of hat things who's going to be very proudly holding up a fish kind of thing. I like all my official language here. A fish. So this person's holding up a fish, and then basically we're gonna have like a an awning kind of overhang. That can have like little wooden sticks kind of holding it up. So yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. Just a little bit. Okay, and then I just need to do the other side once I've done some of this other stuff. Like there's going to be a building back here with wooden slats. And we're going to have a little more kind of market stuff behind here. More market stuff. But I like the idea of this going back, and then we see the building a little bit. And then the building can go back, and we can have our kind of in perspective kind of shot a little bit of some of the buildings behind them. So that it'll all kind of fade to the background. And then similarly over here, where we're going to have another vendor. And this one might be more similar to kind of like this wacky old lady here. And that'll be like a trough kind of thing. Oh, this was going to be a barrel. That works. So we'll have our barrel kind of behind our kids. And that can be this person. And then it's got like a cobblestoney thing going with the street. So we're going to do our cobblestone or whatever. Or at least indicate some street, cobblestone. And then I like the idea of this kind of going back and having some vendory stuff. And again, this is a rough, so don't have to get full into detail yet. But this can be, those wooden slats. And again, this one could be one of these things, and then we could have the awnings that are sort of here with the some metal fences, maybe like a door, some more awning stuff, and it kind of goes back into the distance with like a cover, some doors, Some other people. This could be another building. And then this, you can see like more vendor carts, more people, and like awning. This can be more buildings. And have it sort of there. Okay, I think that works for the rough. So I think any further than this would be kind of a waste of time. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and do some quick shadow just to kind of define a little bit what's going on here. I like the idea of the light source could be on the right. And then we're just kind of looking at them lit by the right. And eventually what we're going to do is copy this over and sort of have like the same background basically with just the movement of them and maybe some subtle differences of the kids and all of the characters. So these will be casting really dark shadows. And this is where just like having, just like a subtle bit of expressing what the shading will be really helps, like, in a rough, like kind of determine like what your lighting's going to be. It also kind of helps clarify a couple of the real scribbly things, of like a rough. And then we kind of work from there. So I'm liking this. I think it'll be like, it's a pretty bright day, so it's just going to have like a very subtle shadowing. And then similarly, this person. Real dark under there. A little bit of light. And there we go. We have the rough finished for panel 1. And maybe to clarify a little bit here, can get a little darker. There we go. Panel 1 rough done. We are going to press play on the next trailer, which is Wordzoid, and I'll be right back. If you guys are watching this and you're enjoying it, please hit the like button. Definitely make sure you've subscribed and hit the bell so you get notifications when we're about to go live. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I will see you after this brief break. So here is Wordzoid.
Well, Peter, since I'm such a big music fan, I'm going to have to go with Karen Carpenter. Oh, Stu, I'm sorry. That's the incorrect answer. Trish, what you got for us?
I'm gonna go with Kim Gordon.
All right, let's check that answer. Kim Gordon. Do we have a Kim Gordon? Yes, and that means you're our new Wordzoid champion, Trish. Dale, tell Trish what she's won.
Trish, you've won a copy of 2 stories, a memoir of faith and mental illness. Handwritten, hand-drawn, and handed to you by artist and writer Joshua Kemble. But wait, that's not all. You've also won a copy of Jacob's Apartment, the story of a doomed romance. What happens when you take Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind and put it in a blender with Ghost World? You get Jacob's Apartment, written and illustrated by Joshua Kemble. Trish, thank you for playing Wordzoid.
All right, great job, Trish. I was told I was gonna get a lifetime supply of paper towels.
All right, let's do this. Let's get to panel 2. Panel 2. Panel 2 is right here. basically what I'm going to go ahead and do is draw. I think what we'll do is we'll draw over. Yeah, okay, we're going to copy our previous drawing over here. I need to merge that. Okay, we're going to copy, and then I think what we're going to do is basically draw over it. So maybe we'll move the thumbnail over it so that I can kind of see better. And then I'm going to draw over that thumbnail to kind of just draw the changed parts, which is an animator's trick. So now we're going to have Sophie. She is leaning towards Elizabeth. Do we have everything else lining up? We do, kind of. So, okay. Sophie is leaning towards Elizabeth. I'm going to do in magenta the new lines. So that's going to be Sophie. And she is moving towards Elizabeth here. And we're going to have her hair here. And she's going to be smiling. And her other hand is going to be here to like kind of tell a secret kind of thing. Because otherwise it'll look like she's leaning in for a kiss, which is not what we quite want to have. So this is going to be that outfit with those kind of strange, puffs. And then her shoulder. So here is the cut of that. It's going to be kind of cut like this, leaning forward. She is definitely going to be leaning. And we're going to have her arm with the puffy shoulder kind of here, and then there's like a dangly bit that's going to kind of come over here. And then we'll have her hand up here holding her parasol. And her parasol is going to be up quite a bit now because she's leaning over. So we're going to kind of have to redraw the parasol a little bit. And the parasol has this like kind of thing here and these little things. And then the side of her outfit, again, it's going to be somewhat like this. So I think that'll do it for her move. I think we've got her movement. Now we need Elizabeth's, but let's get her cleaned up real quick so it's less confusing when we get to Elizabeth. So now what I'm going to do is erase out. Let's turn off this and then just kind of erase out the areas that are under our new character here. Who is now, she's leaning forward. But I want to erase as little of the background as possible because I want to fill in the background areas that we're erasing. Oh. And then we're going to just have this kind of go here. Oh. This will go here. We can erase out this part. And I think we can draw in some of the background elements too, so that we're not completely out of pocket here. So these are going to be some of the stalls as they go back. And the building's going to continue over here. We've got some other buildings. Have some characters here. And I think that does it for her adjustments. So now I'm going to go ahead and kind of add that shading. We know our light source. And I think that'll do it for her. So now we just need to, what I'm going to do is, oops, I kind of messed up there. Did that on the wrong layer, but that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and lock this. Okay. So we got her moved, and now we just need to do Elizabeth in the same way. So we'll do this. I really want to see it without the rough. Okay. So Elizabeth's head is here now. Elizabeth is like a little stunned. So she's going to be kind of, oh, let's go back to our magenta. So Elizabeth's here, kind of little startled by Sophia. And her hair. Will be back. Let me see this without the thing again. Okay, cool. And her neck is like way back, like she's like craning, doing the like, wait, what kind of thing. Okay, and then there's this, which is the thing, and the double check. Yes, okay. But then this is going to be still the same, kind of. Okay, so the shoulder is going to be a little over. And that's going to be moved slightly. But here it'll be the same kind of thing. And then we have her hand, Elizabeth's hand. Let's see here. So now we have Elizabeth's hand kind of back a little bit. And she's going to be having her parasol back here. So her parasol is going to be back a little bit. And then I think, yeah, so then we need, okay, and I think that'll do it for her changes. So now we just need to turn on the rough again, and we'll erase out the areas that we just revised. Can turn off this. Oh, erase out the areas we just revised. Trying not to go much further than what we've just revised. So that you can kind of see what's going on here. And I think that kind of works. So I want to have a little more of her hand here. And then I want to have some shading, and then we'll do some extra stuff as well. So there's shading. The light's going to be hitting this a lot more. My goodness. And this can kind of go back more. So we have like more kind of buildings and stuff. And then we can have a little more of that sort of atmosphere back here. And this can go darker. And then we'll basically make this black, and it should kind of synthesize real nicely. In theory. Hey, look at that. So there we go. We've got panel 1 and panel 2 done. Whew. That was a little difficult to get through. Not too bad though. All right. So we finished panel 2 and panel 1, where we are now seeing a little bit of this open market scene where, like again, first one, Elizabeth and Sophie stroll together. Sophie lowers her parasol and leans closer to Elizabeth to whisper something in her ear. Elizabeth is a little surprised by the gesture. That's what we've got so far. So we will continue in a second, and we're about 2 hours into the stream. If you guys have not yet, please hit like. Hit that like button, and let me know in the chats too what you guys are working on while I'm working on this. We're about a third of the way through what we need to accomplish today. So I'm going to go ahead and play another trailer, and then we will get rocking on the next thing. But I am personally pretty happy with how this is coming out. Did I show the wrong thing? I think we were looking at the wrong thing. That's okay. Okay, so I'm happy with how this is coming out. We'll do the last one in a second. But for now, let's play another trailer. This one will be Philip Chandler's review of Jacob's Apartment.
Hi, my name is Phil Chandler. I'm a freelance artist, illustrator, and cartoonist. Today, though, however, I want to tell you about a graphic novel I picked up recently called Jacob's Apartment. This book was both written and beautifully illustrated by Joshua Kemble. It is a story of a doomed romance that causes the main character to question his beliefs and his faith, while he's also going through other tragedies in his life. Every page has been illustrated by hand and digitally colored with painstaking detail. It is an emotional story that causes you to think and even question things in your own life. And while the story is a tragedy, it is one that I was completely entertained by and I highly recommend. You can currently find this on Amazon or even check in with your local bookstore and see if you can order it. And while you're at it, you can also check out my Instagram at Phil Chandler Arts and also my YouTube channel by the same name, Phil Chandler Arts. And go buy Jacob's Apartment.
And go buy Jacob's Apartment. That would be awesome. Okay, so we're going to do now, we're going to do a little bit of fun and basically do the same thing where it's going to be copying over this to here, trying to kind of line it up a little bit. And I think we're pretty much good. There's a couple spots that are a little off that we could kind of correct. So I think here we're actually going to do the same thing. And now it's pretty easy peasy because now all I need to do is actually draw Elizabeth one more time. But this time we're going to do in magenta again, the animation trick of just the one change. So Elizabeth is now going to be here. It's a weird way of working. I know it takes a while to get used to, but once you've done this a couple times, it's pretty chill. So Elizabeth now is going to be kind of looking and smiling. And she's going to be leaning in with her Elizabeth wacky hair. And this makes it so much easier when you get to final because you have this like basis to kind of work from. It's just, I swear, like roughs and like thumbnails, roughs, all of these things are like the secret magic trick, I think, to making decent, effective work. So this is going to be her leaning forward. I want to see how much is changing here. So actually quite a bit in her posture is changing. And so I want to reflect that. So we're going to do our drawing based on this, and then we'll kind of work our way around. So she has this kind of thing here. It's, let me see how it looks again. Okay, it kind of goes out like this. It's got like a little bit of a lacy vibe going on with it. She has her gloves on. So she's wearing gloves. And I think we were going to have them like interlocking hands now. Or interlocking like their arm in arm. So her arm will be here. Let's see. Yes. So her arm will be through. And then we're going to have the same arm here. And this time, let's see again what this dress looks like. Okay, it's got like kind of a middle line thing. And this will be her with her arm still interlocking with her kid. So that'll go to here. And then we'll do our, how does the dress meet? Okay, kind of meets like that. Okay, got it. Okay, and then we're going to do her parasol one more time, and then I think we're good to go on this, which is actually pretty exciting. So, let's see if we can do parasol. Hope this is coming through okay. Okay, so the parasol is going to be here now. And we can kind of do that easier with this. So parasol. I want this actually to be a little bit wider. Okay, so now we're going to do our shading. And then we'll do our erasing, which will be interesting to kind of get in there. Okay, so this will erase here. This is going to need a line here. We're going to have this. So this will erase here and here. 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 Here, here, and here. Then we're going to basically patch it. So again, like find an area to like patch. This will probably continue. And get darker here. And let's see what happens when we do black here. Dude, look at that. So, so there's our little cheap animation trick. We have our first 3 panels roughed out with our animation trick, which is great. So now we're going to move on to roughs for panel 4, and then we'll do panel 5, and then we'll call it. So panel 4 can move those roughs back to where they very well should be. So we're going to have Elizabeth. Let's see here. Where's my Elizabeth? Elizabeth and Sophie. And I want them now here. So we'll do Elizabeth here and Sophie here. So I like the idea of this being Elizabeth right here. And we're going to just go ahead and draw this out. So this will be Elizabeth. Elizabeth is going to have her hair kind of here. Frank said Elizabeth was a looker. Thank you, Frank. How you doing? How's it going? We got Roll for Tarraco here, Frank Salazar. We played your commercial quite a few times, buddy. Quite a few times because your commercial was excellent. So anyhow, I hope everything's going well. I also saw on Facebook some more meetings that you've been doing for the speech. Now I'm blanking out on what the group is called. It's your speaking group. I can't remember the name, and it's a pretty rad name too. So here we're gonna do one of Elizabeth's more kind of standard things. Toastmasters, thank you. Frank said, I'm all right. I've been cleaning up at home. I'm glad the commercial is a hit. I think it's a hit. I liked it a lot. That's cool. I'm glad Toastmasters is going strong for you too, which is pretty awesome. Okay, so now we're going to do just a few little tricks because we basically need them both looking at this paper, and the paper is going to be this paper. Boom. So once we get all the characters in, then we'll look at the telegraph. But right now we're just going to get all the characters first, rough that in, and then we'll move from there. So this is going to be Elizabeth sitting, and she usually has these kind of tiered dresses. So this is going to be one of them. And then we're going to have Sophie, who's going to be here. Sophie's going to be recognizable as well because she's always got her rose, right? So, and Sophie is going to be wearing her kind of Sophie outfit that we've all grown accustomed to, which is going to be more of a pleated kind of thing, if that's called pleating. Okay, and now we're gonna have them in the. Okay, let's get our telegraph stuff in there first, and we can also probably go as far as to, like, her hair is gonna be dark, so we can mock that in there. Elizabeth's dark hair. Okay, and this is going to be basically saying the British spiritual telegraph. And that'll be like something like this. Kind of goes like this. And it's got our and then we'll probably just have some text here. Whatever. It's just basically indicating that it's going to have some text. Okay, and we got that. Now we're going to look at our location that we're putting them in, which is the Kasagaiti. So we have a reference here, which is great. Great. Okay, and a rough. I think here we'll have our little section. So there's like a weird little box here. And then we're going to do our table. And the table has some stuff. So we're going to go ahead and include all that. Some of the table stuff. And this will be, something like that. Then we're going to have our pillows. Pillows. The couch. And then what else? Let's move this over. So then this was going to be, I think, the table. Again, another table. This one will probably come a little more towards us. And then this was going to be that chair arm. And then we have a bunch of other stuff like the doorway. And this is why it's great to have those little blue lines, because it's like you don't have to like guess too much or like rough out too much what's going to be there because it's all there just very loosely. And then we're going to have our fireplace thing. It's going to have our little, I feel like there's like a little, and then on top of the fireplace, there's stuff. So we'll draw that stuff. And then there's the Wilder kind of thing, which is like the frame for the mirror. And then we've got our picture here. Another picture here. Another picture here. Round picture. And then over here, we've got just the very corner of this table, or this dresser, I guess. And that's going to be here. And then this has like a little thing. Another kind of picture. It's definitely got that angel thing. And another picture. Cool. I think we're pretty darn close to done with this panel. The only thing now is basically just adding the shading. So that's what we'll do. Kind of add some shading in here. And we'll rock. So and we're just kind of adding some shading just to like give a little atmosphere and a perspective on what we'll be doing for the final, and then we'll move on. I do kind of like this being real, like highlighted. So there we go. So now we have let's go ahead and merge that. Now we have 4 of the panels completed for roughs. And now I'm going to go ahead and play a trailer. This one will be 2 stories, the Christmas trailer, and then we will come back and knock out that last panel, which will be a bit of a beast to do, but I think we can do it. All right, here is the trailer for 2 stories. All right, here we go, and we're gonna do our last thing. Okay, so we're gonna look at our references now for the patio, which is right here. We're gonna have Elizabeth and Sophie right here. And I think here we might bring Elizabeth's dress back because I liked this dress. It's reference for the dress. And it matches a little bit. She'll be in long sleeves. And then we'll have Sophie in short. And then I'm going to go ahead and pull my reference of Elizabeth. And we'll go ahead and kind of work from there. So Elizabeth's going to be the person on the furthest left on this page, on this panel. So we'll do Elizabeth, who is, her nose will be turned a little bit. And I think she'll be smiling. And talking, actually. So she's going to be here. It's her kind of wacky curls that go real long. Okay, so this is Elizabeth. And we're going to have... Oh my goodness. I'm going to have Sophie kind of chatting next to her, but Sophie's going to be real close. So, and then we'll do, okay, so Sophie's face. Where is my Sophie reference? There it is. So we'll throw Sophie in there. And Sophie is going to be here talking to Elizabeth. I think she'll be... ear kind of going here, and then we'll have I think her head's like way too huge, but we'll see once we turn off our reference. No, it's not too bad. Okay, that's a little better. And then we'll have like the hair here and the little thing. And then we'll have her forehead really shouldn't be. Okay, there we go. And we'll have, oh my gosh. Man, off my game, guys. Okay, so we'll have that, and then we'll have Elizabeth's going to be here. So they're almost like forehead to forehead, which kind of works. And then we'll have Sophie basically wearing... So Elizabeth's going to be wearing one of her gowns. So Elizabeth will be wearing kind of one of these things, like the one we've seen before multiple times. But now they're like friends, so she's going to have her hand here like... and her arm around Okay, and then Sophie is going to be wearing... Let's have Sophie wearing... I kind of like these weird nouveau looking things. I think I'm going to do that. If I can pull it off. And then it's going to have this shawl thing that I think will be here. And then the shawl is going to kind of droop down like that. But then hang here. So then we're going to have Elizabeth here. And then Sophie with this strange kind of dress. It's hard to kind of figure out some of these dresses. Okay. So that'll be like this luxurious kind of swooping dress that will have some like things on it. Okay. Cool. So we have them. Now we're going to have, where was that? Oh, the patio. Okay, cool. And now we're going to have our patio scene. Oh, our patio scene where everybody else will be wearing these kind of ridiculous hats and have their hair up and stuff. So here we'll have this lady just kind of chilling. I like that crazy hat. It's almost like a bonnet kind of thing. Like the one that I think in the Coca-Cola ads back in the day, they used to have. And she's going to be kind of gossiping with their neighbors. But I think she'll have like her arm out, kind of holding one of those fans. And one of those chairs. Okay, and then we're going to do likewise for some other stuff in a second. Okay, this is going to be I think this lady. I don't like that crazy thing that's on her head. So I think what we'll do is instead have it be like almost like a hairstyle. But she's going to be looking over there. And I like the idea of this being kind of that more puffy sleeved kind of thing. And that'll have like that sort of drapery going on here. As well as some of this. I like the fan going on here too. Okay, we're getting there. We're getting there. Getting there on the rough. I really did like this patio thing here, so I think we'll pull this down and kind of peek at that. But I did like the what's going on here as well. So I think maybe but a bonnet kind of thing like we have there would be cool. Or it's like a bonnet with yeah, so then we're going to draw this part here with the hands kind of about to do the doing the kettle. Oh, actually I think just leaning, but that's okay. And I think here we can have like a table or chair or whatever. And here we can have the lady who's kind of looking down and pouring. And I think just having that, again, it's like almost using some of these poses as they exist is going to really work out quite well. This can be like a little tea thing. Some teapots. Like a creamer thing. And again, we're just getting some basic stuff here, but it's nice to get like a little bit of a thing kind of worked out. And I think the last thing will be, I do like the person leaning here too. So I think we'll have a person leaning here. Maybe we have them similarly dressed. And this is like a much higher hem on this crazy like Victorian sort of thing, but I like it. So there we go. I think we'll be pretty close. This can be another one of those chairs. Do some stuff here. In the middle, I think there's like a sturdy base here. Cool. And then we'll close that out and continue our sketch here. So we were going to have, actually, let's keep that open. Yeah, we were going to have like a kind of patio thing here. That sort of works. This can be like a okay, and then we can move the patio stuff just so we can see. And I think our patio thing, we were going to do some like the awning here. The awning here. Some of that. Initially, I think I was going to have that much taller, but I think it makes more sense for it to be shorter. And then we'll just kind of build out these things. Getting there, guys. Okay. I like that. Have a similar thing, but this could be like the patio sort of area where it ends. This can be kind of grass. This little spot. And then we can have our sort of wild plant that's kind of growing out here. And then I think we'll have some trees. And some more trees, some bushes, and from there we can actually make some of these actually trees. And I think that's going to do it for our rough. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and do shadows, and then we'll call it a day. So we're just going to do our shading on here. Everybody got home just now from their long trip.
Are you live streaming?
Yes, I am. So then we're doing our stuff. Our shadows. And the kids just got home and family got home, so that's what the ruckus is. Who's making that ruckus? And let's see here. And it's kind of perfect timing because we're almost done with the stream. Really close. So kind of establishing some shadows.
Josh?
Yeah.
Did you feed the dogs?
Yes.
Thank you. Hey, Dad?
Yes.
I got a new machine.
New Pusheen. Nice. You'll have to show me in a second, okay? I'm almost done. Awesome. You'll have to show me in a second. I'm almost done.
Is like everyone seeing this right now?
Yes. Yeah, don't go on the screen. Okay, so we're basically wrapping up this one, and we're gonna call it, which is kind of perfect timing that the family got home just now. So we have finished our roughs for page 95. thanks to everybody who has been watching. If you haven't yet, hit like and subscribe. That's Ben. And and I'll see you guys on the next live stream. But we managed to get it done. And that's good because I can call myself a cartoonist today. Because that's my rule. You can't call yourself a cartoonist unless you work on comics for the day. So I'll see you guys on the next live stream. And how awesome is that? All right, guys. Have a good one. Thanks again. Bye.